I've been married to my absolute best friend for 10 years. Our oldest daughter is almost 7, and our 4 daughters have never gone to daycare or school. We chose to be home with them and to homeschool them from the start. I have a university degree that I did not use to work in baking, and I left the corporate world almost 8 years ago now. And somehow, I still get asked, so what's your backup plan? What do you do if your husband leaves you? Or what if he dies? What's your backup plan? A backup plan to me is something that we use in case the first plan fails. A backup plan to me is the same idea of a back door. It's an escape route. That's why I suggested that we have 2 different ways of exiting our home in case of fire or emergency. So if it really gets bad in the front, then we can always head to the back and escape. I didn't get married to have a backup plan. I didn't get married to be like, I need to be working in case something happens and the girls and I are left alone. I didn't get married expecting a marriage to fail, because if I go in expecting it to fail, for sure it'll fail. Like my thoughts, I go in there, my fears are going there, my mind, everything. And the enemy uses that. Plants a seed, and there we go. We throw everything up in the air because the seed of doubt was planted, because his intention is to destroy families. So before we went into marriage, Mike and I welded our back door shut. That means that whatever happens, we can't open the back door. There's only one exit, and that's the front door. And that means that we need to figure things out and fight and overcome whatever obstacle is thrown our way, because there is just no other ways. And I'll be honest, this was something we talked about before we got married, but I wasn't great at it. I grew up thinking that was my way or the highway, and a very not great thinking in marriage, by the way, or just in general. But that's how I thought, and that there was just this fear of abandonment and this need of controlling everything and anything. And again, all of that is really toxic in marriage. And if you can figure things out before you get married, that would save you a lot of headaches. So to me, even if I said that there was no back door at the beginning of a marriage, if it didn't work out the way that I wanted a marriage to work out, if we got into a big fight or whatever, my fight or flight response would be like, well, that's not working out, so I'm out. And that is an extremely manipulative behavior, very insecure and very just toxic for any relationship, but absolutely toxic for a marriage. And I am so grateful for my husband, who actually never had a back door, who was willing to work through everything, who was so patient with me and so forgiving. And so for the longest time, I said I didn't have a back door, but in time of crisis, I wanted to leave to be in control of the situation, almost like, I'll leave you before you leave me kind of thing. And I grew up with this very, just a very dysfunctional way of resolving conflicts. Just didn't know how to do that. So it was my way or the highway. And that's what I knew. But because Micah persevered and showed me how much he meant what he said, that there was no back door, I was able to soften my heart, to lower my walls, and to trust him. And I've learned that my manipulative behavior was my way of coping so I could be in control. And I had to work through so many of my own personal challenges and insecurities before I could arrive to the true, I don't have a back door. I never left, Micah never left, we were never on a break, and every time I say something like that, I think about friends. All of that to say is, when we leave the back door open, it's easy to have one foot in and one foot out. It's easy to go, well, we're fighting constantly, this isn't working, marriage is too hard, that's not what I thought, by the way, it's never what we thought. And so there's no back door. I quit my job, I'm fully dependent on my husband, and I wouldn't have it any other way. If something were to happen, do I not believe that God will fully provide? He never failed us. He provided for the 21 months that Micah was off work. We never went backwards. We stayed out of debt. God provided more than enough. He feeds the birds. He definitely would be feeding us. I can appreciate a question, but to me, it's more of a question of faith. Do I not believe that if my husband dies unexpectedly, that the church wouldn't step up and help? Do I not believe that my friends and family wouldn't help? And I've heard many people say, but I like to be independent and I don't like help. And I totally get it. I really struggle for the longest time to accept help, and I still do. But that just means to me that I'm too prideful to accept help, that I don't want people to see my weaknesses, that I struggle, or that I'm ashamed, or whatever else. And I'm still like that sometimes, and I don't like when people offer help. My brain goes to default and goes, well, what do you think that I can't do it by myself? And funny story, actually, we recently moved and we've had tons of people offering their help. But like how people often go, let me know if you need help moving, but I don't feel like they mean it. Maybe that's just where I'm at. So I don't want to bother people, and so we don't ask for help, even if they offer. And I'm like, we can figure this out. Micah moved us multiple times by himself. We're minimalists and we have like 25 boxes. We'll be just fine. But 2 friends offer multiple times, and that's when it's legit. And so we end up accepting the offer. But that's just to show how, I don't know if it's easy or prideful, but it's so easy to not accept help because we think we can do it all. And I believe that when we resist help, it's because we're prideful. And God resists the proud and gives grace to the humble. So no, I don't have a backup plan. I don't have a back door. I don't know what I'll do if something happens to my husband. All I know is God never failed us, and he won't start now. Thanks for hanging out.